Hi guys, in this video we're going to have a look at the surface area of spheres. So just a little bit of a quick reminder, sphere is basically like a football, and we're going to be looking at the area around it, not the volume inside it. We're going to look at the area all the way around it. And the formula for that is quite simply 4 pi r squared. Okay, so obviously the pi r squared is your circle formula, and to get the surface area of a sphere we just times that by 4. So it's a relatively easy one to remember. Alright, let's get cracking then. We're going to have a look at different examples here, nice and easy to start off with, and then slowly getting more tricky. So let's start off with this one. So quite simply, I'm going to use the formula, and I'm going to substitute the value for the radius inside that. So I'm literally just going to have 4 times pi times by the radius, which in this case is 7, squared. And all I'm going to do is stick that straight into the calculator. So 4 times pi times 7 squared. Now, if the question says leave it in terms of pi, that's going to be 196 pi. Of course, it might want you to round it, so press the SD button there. So 615.7521, etc., etc. So again, round it to whatever the question wants. I always go one decimal place. So 7. Next one is 5, which tells you to round that up. So that's 615.8, and it's area, so centimeters squared. Okay, let's have a look at the next one, which is this one here. Be careful, because we want the radius. In this case, it's given me the diameter, which isn't a problem. Just be aware that you might need to just change that. I need the radius, so all I'm going to do is divide that by 2. So 13 divided by 2 is 6.5, so that's the radius, so just be very careful. Then I just substitute it straight into the formula again, so 4 times pi times the radius, which is 6.5 squared. Let's stick that in the calculator, see what we've got. Okay, and again in terms of pi, it's 169 pi. And if I press the SD button, 530.9291, etc., etc. So to one decimal place, 2 tells me to round it down, so 530.9 centimeters squared, because it's the area. Okay, so they're the two basic ones, just substituting it straight into the formula. In this particular case, I'm told what the surface area is, and I need to get the radius. So all I'm going to do here is substitute everything that I know into the formula. So obviously I have 4, obviously I have pi. I don't know the radius. In this case, the radius is just x, so times x squared, and then that equals the area of 1,444 pi. So all I need to do now is just solve that. So I'm going to use the flowchart method. I'm going to come up here and use this space, though. I know that makes it look like it's part of this question, but it is still part of this question. And I'm going to start off with x. And I need to square it first before I do anything else. And then I can, either one of these, it doesn't matter, because you're timesing, it doesn't matter the order. I'm just going to go the other way there and just say times by pi, then times by 4, and once I've done that, I get the area of 1,444 pi. And then all I do is go backwards. And when I go backwards, I do the opposite. So instead of timesing by 4, I divide by 4. Instead of timesing by pi, I divide by pi. And instead of squaring a number, I do the opposite and square root, and I get back to x. So let's have a look what we get. So do this step by step, keep pressing equals as you go. So first of all, I get my answer in there. Then I divide by 4 and press equals. Then I divide by pi and press equals. Then I square root, and if you use the answer button here, it just uses your previous answer, and you're left with x equals 19 centimeters. Lovely. Once you've done that, obviously just double check, stick that in the formula and just see what you get. So 4 times pi times by, we think it's 19, so 19 squared, and we get the same answer. So yeah, definitely 100% got that correct. Rightio, let's carry on. So here's exactly this. Ooh, what was that one? It's cheating, I've got my answer sheet. Okay, so here we go. Exactly the same type of question. I want the radius, I want the surface area here. This time it's not in terms of pi, so it's potentially not going to be as nice as the previous one, but it's exactly the same. First thing I'm going to do is substitute everything I know into the formula. So 4 times pi times by the radius, which is x squared, and then that's going to equal the 5,542. And I'm just going to flowchart it. So x, and I need to square it first. So sorry, not times it. I need to square it first. Then I times it by my pi. Then I times it by 4, and then I get my 5,542 for my area. And then I can go backwards, dividing by 4, dividing by pi, square rooting, and then you can get back to x. So let's just see what that is. So 5,542, again do it step by step, divide by 4 equals, divide by pi equals, square root the previous answer, and we get 21.000436, etc., etc. So to one decimal place, obviously that's 21.0 centimeters squared. Oh no, sorry, it's the radius, isn't it? Sorry, it's just the centimeters. Excellent. So always be careful. Check your units. The area is centimeters squared. We're told the area, we're after the radius. So just centimeters. Okie dokie. Here we have a hemisphere. So it is just a sphere cut in half. And again, I want the surface area. So the first thing I'm going to do is work out the whole surface area of the whole sphere. So like this. I'm going to imagine it's full. So I'm going to work out the whole thing. And then I'm going to half it because I only want half of it. So let's do that. So 4 times pi times the radius, which in this case is 15 squared. Okay, that's going to tell me the whole surface area of the sphere, and then I want to half it. So you can divide by 2 or times by a half. Either one gets you exactly the same answer. So 4 times pi times 15 squared, then divide it by 2, and we're left with 450 pi. Now what most people will do is they'll leave it there, and they'll think, oh, I've halved it, it must be the same. But if you half the surface area of a sphere, you're just going to have this bit here. What you're not going to have is this bit on top, which is a circle. So once you've halved the sphere, basically cut it in half, you also then need to work out the area of this circle on top. And the area of a circle is just pi r squared. So pi times 15 squared. It should be 225 pi, I believe, but let's just double check it. Yep. So 225 pi. And obviously then we need to add them together to get the total surface area. So 450 pi plus 225 pi gives us a grand total of 675 pi. So leave that in terms of pi if you wish, or press the SD button, and we have 2,120.5750, etc., etc. So again, to one decimal place, 2,120. That 7 will round that up to a 6. And that is the surface area, so that is centimeters squared. And just for a little bit of fun, this probably won't come up, but just in case it does, if you have the surface area of a hemisphere, can you go back and work out the radius? So we need to be very, very careful here. We're still going to substitute everything in, being very careful, and then we're going to try and work it out. So let's work out the whole surface area like we did here. So that will be 4 times by pi times by the radius, which in this case is x, so x squared, and then we needed to half it. So that's this bit done. That's working out the whole thing. But then we also needed to add this top circle here, this one here. So we need to add pi times the radius squared. In this case, again, the radius is x, so pi times x squared. So that's how I'm going to work out the surface area of this hemisphere, just like we did in this example. And of course we know that that equals 245 pi. Okay, let's do a little bit of tidying up. 4 times pi times x squared divided by 2, well, that can be simplified to literally 2 pi x squared. So 4 divided by 2 is 2 times the pi times the x squared, and obviously plus pi times x squared is just pi x squared equals 245 pi, like so. I have 2 pi x squared plus pi x squared, so because I have a x squared and x squared, and these are both pi's, I can actually simplify this to be 3 pi x squared equals 245 pi. You can flowchart this. I'm going to use the balance method though, because I might have a bit enough space. I want to get rid of the 3 pi's, and the minute it's 3 pi times x squared, so I'm going to do the opposite and divide both sides by 3 pi. Like so, which leaves me with x squared equals, well, let's have a look, 245 pi divided by 3 pi leaves me with 245 over 3, or 81.6 recurring. And then I need to get x on its own, so I'm going to square root both sides. So if I press the square root button and the answer button, it will square root my previous answer. Ooh, that's horrible. Let's press the SD button. So 9.0369, etc., etc. So to 1 decimal place, 3 tells me to round down. So to 1 decimal place, we have 9.0. And again, we were after the radius, so that would be centimetres if that was centimetres squared. Okay, there we go, guys. Surface area of a sphere, hemispheres, and going back to find the radius. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully you enjoyed the little challenging one at the end there. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.